Joining us now is Ojineka Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinex.
I noticed something.
What did you
Your
notice?
new glasses on. Yeah. Good morning, Dr.
Well, you
Maki.
better watch it because 3 editors called me yesterday.
Okay.
From outside Lagos. They say, what is it between you and Jinex?
We all want to know. Oh, no. We all know what it is.
I told them, can you people concentrate on your journalism?
You are my aburo. How do you say it's not aburo?
No. How can I be your aburo?
You are my eggball. Is it eggball? You are my eggball. I love it. Sorry, Rufai.
How can I be your aburo?
You are my eggball, right?
Yeah.
You are my eggball. Good morning to Victoria MKO Aviola, looking like a queen.
Felix, I noticed something.
I want to know.
All this your lovely attire you come up with. You have to hook viewers up with your retinue.
You know, I get requests all the time.
Yeah.
Thanks to my beautiful stylist, Ikechukwu.
Okay.
Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, Eric Adams, mayor-elect of New York City on Thursday, said he would like his first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin. The former police captain, who was elected this week to take over the end of Mayor Bill de Blasio's term in January, said he wanted to signal his intention to make New York the center of the cryptocurrency industry. In the United Kingdom, David Fuller, who sexually abused at least 100 corpses in hospitals where he worked as an electrician, dramatically changed his pleas on Thursday to confess to murdering 2 young women. The 67-year-old admitted to killing the 2 women in 1987 in what became known as the Bedsit murders, one of Britain's longest unsolved murder cases. And in a historic breakthrough on Thursday, November 4th, Britain became the first country in the world to approve a potentially game-changing COVID-19 antiviral pill. The pill, which will be branded as Lageviro, is designed to introduce errors into the genetic code of the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. Other sports. A shocking footage emerged on Thursday, showing fans of West Ham singing anti-Semitic football chants to an Orthodox Jewish man on a flight to Belgium. The club said it was appalled by the video and has insisted that any individual identified in the video will be banned. Finally, under entertainment, socialite Obinna Iegu, popularly known as Obi Kubana, was released on Thursday from the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission after being detained for 3 days. The 46-year-old socialite and club owner was arrested on Monday over alleged money laundering and tax fraud. Well, all right. Let's begin what's trending with the story of Femi Oshibona, owner of the 21-story building that collapsed in Lagos, whose body was discovered on Thursday, buried beneath the rubble. The developer was on the verge of building a first-of-its-kind luxury apartment in Nigeria. He was known by close friends as Femi Fourscore. Oshibona started his real estate business in London in 1997 and is said to be the first African developer to construct a 7-story building in East London. Well, in an interview he granted our sister publication This Day in 2019, Oshibona said he sold shoes and suits as far back as 1991 before venturing into real estate development. Well, in 2009, he moved to South Africa, where he built 6 luxury units called Fourscore Mansion in Waterkloof, Pretoria. Oshibona was an evangelist and a philanthropist and a member of the Celestial Church of Christ. The Ikoyi building collapse may not be the first time Oshibona would experience a structural damage to his building. In 2018, 4 out of his 24 flats in Atlanta, Georgia were razed. According to him, the incident turned out to be a blessing after insurance payment covered the cost of the building and the entire 24 flats. Oshibona was reported to have been on the ground floor before the 21-story building collapsed. He was 53 years old and is survived by 4 children. Well, it was a horrific scene yesterday when his body was discovered, buried beneath the rubble. Tundu Abiola, I don't know if you saw those videos. I'm sure you did not see it. You know.
But it was, yeah,
It was horrible. Well, may his soul rest in peace. Our heart, goes out to his family at this point. Well, I wanted to take a video also of the senior pastor of Kingsway International Christian Centre in London that has been making the rounds on social media. It revealed how Femi Oshibona went to him for divine consultation with regards to his real estate investments. Let's take a listen.
After listening to my tips, I built 12 apartments in London. Built 12 apartments in London. If you know London, if you know a part called Hackney, there's a part of Hackney called London Fields. He built 12 apartments there, sold 8, he sold 8, kept 4. Then he came to me again, Pastor Matthew, lay hands on me. Where should I go again? After I laid hands the first time I built that, he said, where should I go again? I want to go to South Africa. Please pray for me. I prayed for him. Ladies and gentlemen, he went to South Africa, built 125 houses. Then he calls me, he said, where are you, sir? I want to come to you. I said, I'm in Ghana preaching. He jumps on the plane and flies to Ghana from South Africa. He comes. He said, where should I go again? I said, look, I'm not your financial advisor. Go and meet your financial advisor. He said, you are doing better than them. Oh. So I lay hands on him, prayed for him. I said, go to Nigeria, your country. We call him Femi, first call.
Again, may his soul rest in peace. Dr. Bati, your analysis.
Well, I understand why there's so much concentration on Femi Oshibona, the developer of the property in question on Gerard Road, Ikoyi. But I think we must stress the point that every life matters. I made a point earlier on about the anxiety expressed by one of the family members that perhaps the rescue effort will end now that the body of the developer has been retrieved. But that should not happen. Under no circumstance should that happen. Every life involved in that tragedy matters. Now, you've focused on the story of Femi Oshibona and his grass to grace story. From selling shirts and ties, we were told he himself could not afford to wear at a time, to becoming a major real estate developer. From London to Centurion, in Pretoria, in South Africa, and then all the way to Ghana, to Nigeria, and all of that. And I made the point that, look, in all of these other places where he had developed property, no incident occurred. Perhaps, are there some lessons we can draw from that? Could it be that in those other countries, UK, US, that maybe higher standards, developers are kept to higher standards? How did the standards suddenly fail in Nigeria? This was not the first property he would develop in Nigeria. On Mosley Road, in that same Ikoyi area, he has a block of apartments that he also developed. That did not collapse. Why did this one collapse? Where is the omission? And, well, it's good that a tribunal of inquiry has been set up, and they will be able to come up with the facts. Again, he was a man of God. Okay? We were told that he was even at a point a pastor, a very spiritual person.
Yes, I've seen some videos.
If there are errors on his own part, that then takes us to that old argument earlier in the week about, Pastor Kumuyi, responding to statements that have been made by Bishop Dayo Ashaju. And the whole point that, if I recall correctly, that Pastor Kumuyi was making, is that, look, you can't be a saint on Sunday and be a monster on Monday. In other words, Christians are required, according to Pastor Kumuyi, to keep to the highest standards. But there are other persons, who are involved in this that we know. A gentleman called Wale Bobu Sini, who was on his way, we were told, to the airport. And then his friend called him and said, oh, come and see this property that I'm developing. And his driver turned, and they came to that Ikoyi, and he also reportedly died in this particular tragedy. Imagine that, that's how life is. He had a different destination.
Absolutely.
Something changed his course, and then this happened. There's also the story of the young lady, Onyinye, who had only spent 1 week as a personal assistant to Femi Oshibona, and he was planning to marry next month, 26 years old, and then our story ended within 1 week of taking on the job. There was also the story of a young man, 16-year-old, who came from Abuja to come and, work, maybe just to earn some money. And then he also died in that incident. So what we're dealing with...
I don't think they have found the bodies of those 3 people you just mentioned.
But we were told that they were involved.
They were involved,
because family members have not seen them, and they've camped out there, including the driver of Borno State.
Yes.
Okay, that is life. You know, nobody knows tomorrow. But every effort should be made to ensure that the persons are properly identified, and that, you know, every family is provided the necessary support that they require at this moment of trial, you know, for them.
Well said, Dr. Bati. Rufai, your take on the story.
So for me, the sad part is my commiserations to the families that have...
Absolutely.
Everybody that died in this, because it's a national tragedy. Hence, we're having the 3 days of mourning. But the shocking reality is that Nigeria happens to all of us. Mm-hmm. In all of this, I asked a question earlier. We'll set up another panel of inquiry. Are we going to learn? What did we learn from the building collapse on Lagos Island? Nothing. Are we going to learn anything from now? I doubt it. Today, we don't even know the correct permission given. Is it 15th floor or 21st floor? We're seeing all sorts of documents. Today, we don't even know the structural engineer on site. Does that mean we have learned? No, because how can a building like this be going up and by today we don't even know the structural engineer that worked on the site?
It's unacceptable,
so
really.
The sad part is, like I said yesterday, no matter high or mighty you are, the things we keep talking about in this country affect all of us. Your money can't save you. Because even if you think you have the money to get the best luxury, you might see that somebody not doing something right somewhere will affect you. Something as easy or as small as not even writing a manifest before you enter is a building site, which is supposed to be the prerequisite. But today in Nigeria, people enter public transport. They get into buses. Do they write manifests? No. So that's the kind of country we live in. We leave everything to chance, and we think God, the miraculous, will save us.
Well, I hope this becomes a learning experience for everyone.
But I think this becomes a learning experience.
Absolutely.
If we only choose to learn.
Okay. We'll take another story. Babagana Zulum, the governor of Borno State, on Thursday revealed that he uncovered a fraudulent scam at a government hospital in his state. In an interview, the governor said while visiting some hospitals unannounced, he discovered officials collecting between 8,000 to 10,000 naira from patients for services meant to be provided free of charge. The governor said the officials turned the government health care into a private hospital, and for that reason, residents who cannot afford the services have deserted the healthcare center. Zulum decried that the healthcare center had only 1 medical staff on ground to attend to patients, despite having 29 health workers on the government payroll. The governor said he has directed the Borno State Primary Health Care Agency to thoroughly investigate and identify all the culprits to take appropriate disciplinary action. I mean, this state, Borno State, with all the problems that they face, this is what our healthcare officials are doing. It's so appalling, Tundu Abiola.
We need to protect Governor Zulum at all costs. That man is doing the Lord's work as far as I'm concerned. You'll recall that he went to a school and uncovered all manners of indiscipline. That was egregious enough, with the future of the children being educated, being toyed with in that manner. But this is actually unconscionable. Exactly like you said, OJ. Does Borno State not have enough problems for this to now be added to the people? This is why I always try to resist finger pointing. Everybody bangs on about the limitations and the failures and the omissions, blah-de-da, of the political elite, which of course are glaring. But it's not. This is not the elite. This is not bandits. This is not terrorists. This is your average Nigerian doing in your fellow average Nigerian with the same struggles as you, the same issues as you, with the same rights to decent healthcare as you. And this is how we treat one another. So I think that we really need to look within a lot more and actually understand our role in the rot that this country is facing right now.
Absolutely. Dr. Bati, your comment?
Well, this is not an isolated case. Governor Zulum of Borno State, we're told, yes, has developed the habit of showing up unannounced, in disguise, to ensure performance. And in this particular case, this particular primary healthcare center that has 29 persons on the payroll, only one medical staff was available. Before then, as Tundun pointed out, he visited a school and met a similar situation. What is worse in these healthcare centers that he visited is that services that were supposed to be provided free of charge were provided at a cost. So government wants to help the people, provide primary health care, but the medical personnel are using it to serve themselves.
Imagine that.
Now, compare this also to the case of the Controller General of Immigration, who visited the Ikoyi Passport Office and discovered that the cost for passports, either it is 24 pages or 72 pages or whatever, had been hiked. So passport officials, immigration officials were using that to make quick money, right? At the end of the day, the Controller General of Immigration had to move the heads of all these passport offices around, and it threatened to make sure that the affected officials will be sanctioned. But would that happen? As immigration sanctioned its errant passport officials. In some other states of the Federation, some governors, they go to maybe the secretariat very early in the morning and then ask latecomers to stay outside. So it's about the structure of the civil service in Nigeria and the commitment of public servants or civil servants to their work. They are called servants, but we have reached a stage in Nigeria, unlike the situation you have maybe in Bangladesh or in India or in some other parts of the world, where civil servants don't see themselves as civil servants. They see themselves as personal servants. They want to serve themselves, and they use the position that they occupy to enrich themselves. So this is part of the problem. If the service, the civil service, the public service in Nigeria, which is supposed to be the engine room of the state in terms of service delivery, is a place for ghost workers and moonlighters, then do you need any further explanation for the state of the nation, for the gross incompetence and inefficiency that we witness in terms of how Nigeria is run? This is our national dilemma.
Well said. Rufai, your analysis on this.
So I have iterated many forms, at reforming the civil service in Nigeria. One that comes to mind is the Singaporean model, where it's key performance indices based. So ministers are rated based on their performance and they are paid more. So if you do better, you get paid better. But the question I ask in my head is, will it work in Nigeria? No. Because the problem is culture. And the thing about strategy is, no matter how good your strategy is, culture will eat your strategy for breakfast. So the problem across board in Nigerian civil service is just that of culture. This is the same civil service you had the likes of Simeon Adebo serving, of stellar career, stellar excellence. Everything is done on point. It just goes back to show that there's a pervasive culture of corruption in this country.
The corruption is too much.
It's too much.
29 people are on the government payroll and only one person.
The shocking thing, is even if you pay them very, very well, they will still be corrupt. So how can we take that canker worm out? Just like customs. You saw what happened. The question is, it going to change? The custom one, Dr. Bati, particularly shocked me because when you go to the customs here in Ikoyi, in immigration here in Ikoyi, just by it, there's a federal government ombudsman and regulator called Servicom. That is just by the corner. And you will see a lot of collusion between Servicom officers and custom officers. And the government will tell you that, don't allow Servicom to see you. And the Servicom knows that they are doing a racket there. So
unbelievable.
I'm tired for this country,
but like you said, we have to protect Governor Zulum. I think
he's he's doing well.
Really amazing. Well, all right, we'll take another story. Reactions are trailing the cancellation of the SitatHome order in the southeast by the Indigenous People of Biafra. The group made the announcement on Thursday through its spokesperson, Emma Powerful, who said the SitatHome order was cancelled after considering the genuine intervention of some southeastern stakeholders and to allow people in Anambra participate in the governorship election on Saturday, November 6th. The group warned supporters of IPOB against attacking voters in Anambra under the guise of enforcing the suspended SitatHome directive. The group, however, maintained that they remain committed to the agitation for secession and called on the Nigerian government to give them a date for a Biafra referendum in order to decide where they belong. Well, let's take a tweet from Tunde, who wrote, "These folks are a bunch of jokers. History repeating itself. The same thing Kanu told his gullible followers prior to the 2019 presidential election. But he changed his tune 2 weeks before the election commenced. Obviously, money has changed hands. Some of us know what time it is. In the meantime, as the Anambra governorship election draws near, amid fears of voter apathy, it appears some party officials have taken it upon themselves to encourage voter turnout, as we'll see in this video, where a man is seen giving out money and beverages to residents. Let's take a look.
You will voter's card. You will voter's card. Oh yeah, well. Thank you,
You know what the guy was saying? Unengwe voter's card. It means some were giving 400 naira, some were giving. I mean, come on, this is so.
Oji.
I mean, it sounds funny, but it's unacceptable.
Oji, it's very honorable. That's Nigeria for you. I'm in pain. I'm in serious pain. That's the country we have built.
Yes.
And you see, when we don't get it right in elections, people ask how. But that's it. We have built a country where we have weaponized poverty.
Yeah.
Look at citizens of a country that produces oil, that has natural resource, that is said to be the giant of Africa. Look at the citizens queuing up just to get 400 naira and a can of malt.
They've sold
to
them.
exercise their franchise.
Correct.
So there's no even dignity of human life. That is Nigeria for you.
Yeah, but I have a counter argument though. You've heard during the campaign, collect their money but vote for us. So I always find that really shocking when it's said, and it has been said repeatedly,
Yes.
acknowledging the fact that money will exchange hands. You cannot stop it. But I thought it was actually funny. Did you see the little boy that didn't have a voter's card?
Yeah.
And the gentleman handing the money smacked him and said, why didn't you say thank you? So the person who's committing an electoral offense is telling somebody else, mind your manners. I just found that really odd.
There's another argument to that too. Why don't you collect the money and vote for the candidate of your choice? Dr.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say.
Very quickly, the law is very clear.
Yes.
The Electoral Act says very clearly that before the election, during, even after, if you engage in any kind of electoral malpractice, you can be sanctioned. And I think that in the amended Electoral Act, there are even stronger sanctions for electoral malpractices. The question is who will enforce what the law says. Clearly, I was surprised you didn't call out the particular political party involved, so I was okay because the party colors were quite clear. So you know whose candidate's interest is being promoted. And the gentleman committing the offense was recorded. In the age of technology, in the age of social media, you really cannot hide. If you go out there and you commit an offense, look at him. He's a living being. So I hope that the relevant agencies will try to investigate, what he's trying to do there. Now, as for the people, the average Nigerian voter is very cynical. And this speaks to the alienation between the people and their government, and also the distrust, in the political class. The assumption of the average voter is that, look, politicians remember them only when they need their votes. So you can go there, tell them you will provide the electricity, you will take care of healthcare, you will do this and that. They're not listening, because they've lived through a process whereby these politicians get into positions and they only take care of themselves. They don't remember the people. So the people will say, okay, whatever is available, bring it. When you get there, we know you won't remember us until the next election cycle. And that's why I think a lot needs to be done in terms of voter education, voter mobilization. That if you sell your vote, then you will suffer for it for 4 years. You will lose the moral right to hold your leaders accountable.
Absolutely.
Because you've been paid off.
Absolutely.
So that is the problem we have in Nigeria. The monetization of politics and the reproduction of that at all levels among the people.
Very well said.
Thank you, Jamaica.
Thank you all again for your amazing analysis. Have a great weekend.
You too, Oji.
That's all I have on What's Trending today. I will see you all next week.